Today, I'm going on a style journey with the businesswoman, broadcaster and activist, also known as Mary Queen of Shops, the extraordinary Mary Portas OBE. Hello and welcome, Mary.
Oh, it's so lovely to be here.
God,
I can't remember when we last saw each other.
I was trying to remember, but I have to say I spent last weekend with your dulcet tones in my ears because I was listening to I shop, therefore I am. And oh my God, it took me right back to the early days of the label. And wow, I mean, why now and why this book?
You know, I have a thing, and it's interesting because you're saying that you're writing your book. That I think there's a time where books come to you. And and for whatever reason, I got asked to write my second memoir. And I just didn't want to do it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I remember, I don't know if you remember, there was a brilliant exhibition that was on at South Kensington at the Design Centre called Rebel. And it was 30 years of New Gen. And we launched New Gen at Harvey Nicks. And I went with my old team. I hadn't seen them in years, but we went, oh, let's go down memory lane. And Amanda, it's one of those times where you just go, wow, we did this. That's what we were doing in the 90s. Yeah. And I remember getting home after laughing my head off at dinner with them, just going, did we really do that? You know, did we?
Because there's a lot of that in there.
There's a lot of, can we really tell that? And I just kept on saying, oh my gosh, this is a book. This is a TV series that just wouldn't leave my... And so I just called my agent 2 days later and said, look, I've got the book and I think it's the Harvey Nicks years. And she went, let's do this.
Oh, it's brilliant. And it's doing brilliantly, isn't it?
Really brilliantly.
And you're on this massive publicity junket at the moment.
I am. And it's part exhausting and part exhilarating because you turn up to places and you travel the country, which is also just extraordinary. And you see so many different types of people who of different parts of the country, from south to Scotland to whatever. But actually at the heart of it is all these memories of this time. People want to share it. And I have this funny feeling, I got asked it the other day, why do you think there's this return to 90s? And I said, I think it's the last time before the digital world and where everything was interaction, physically communicating. You know, when you were selling there, you'd know the buying team, you'd be in there, I'd meet with you, we'd discuss what we were going to do to promote and to market. It was a very physical, I think it was the last time of that real physical way of working and being.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I didn't think so. I thought at first, well, everybody goes back with certain fashion trends. We've seen the revival of the 70s, we've seen the revival of the 80s. But this is more than just the trends and the fashion trends of what we were wearing in the 90s. It's kind of a return to connection. That's what I think.
An era that we will never go back to.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I mean, you have this lovely moniker, Mary Queen of Shops. And I just wondered what you are most excited about in retail at the moment, because it's a really tricky time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's an extraordinarily difficult time. And I think we're going through this transition period. And transition periods take a long time for the penny to drop, with people going, this is the new world, you know? And I think what we're going through now is a real post-COVID wake-up call, where there's tenets that have now taken root of how we want to live. And part of that is economically. I think people are saying, what is value today? What is real value? And that doesn't necessarily mean cheap. We know that really cheap, what that's done to our planet. Yeah. And we know that what that's done to the sort of consumerist model, which has never created well-being. In fact, it's done the opposite. So I think we've got a real wake-up call on that. And I think we've got a wake-up call on what businesses do I want to buy into? What do they mean to me? And I think there's a values system that's going with this re-questioning of value. And I think what's slowly coming out is a kind of a new territory. And within that new territory, I'm seeing quite a bit of innovation that I don't think we saw for a long while in those heightened consumer years.
Yeah.
And that excites me.
Yeah.
It excites me. And it's going to be slower and it's going to be smaller. but it's actually more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that's broken about the fashion system, isn't there? And, you know, I just wondered what your opinion was on the luxury goods houses, because they're these monsters and their prices seem to be going up, up, up and up to just like crazy levels.
Yeah, but this is what's happening across so many different sectors. But I think what they, and I don't think, again, and let me tell you, there's some seriously clever people working at the top ends of the luxury business. So I wouldn't want to be sitting here going, well, this is what you should be doing. But I think when you've operated in a way that's been so successful for so many years, and I talk about operationally rather than sometimes creatively, it's very difficult to move away from that. And that's what you've known. And the business operation that we've seen in the luxury world was product and brand is king, right? If you get your product right and you get your story right that goes with it, the brand, it's been king for a very long time. And therefore, you just mark up as it goes, and you go more exclusive, and you go more aspirational, but attainable. That's no longer the game. And I think that's happening in the luxury houses. They're having to reset themselves. And the problem is, when you've got these huge luxury operations, you've got what sometimes happens in business, and dare I say it, is the caretakers. And the pirates who got you there in the first place are sort of shifted to the side while the caretakers are operationally taking care. And sometimes they sort of over control it. And actually what we need now is to be putting new ideas out there that just shake this up and take risk. And I think they're slowly waking up to it. And I think one of the brilliant examples of doing that was Jonathan Anderson at Loewe. He's just, you know, the guy is a cultural, just a zeitgeisty, wonderful, who was allowed to absolutely create a sensibility to a brand that was so right for now. And I think we need to really get back to these creative visionaries being at the heart of these businesses and giving risk to.
Yeah. I mean, we've just been on this giant move around, haven't we, of creative directors in the luxury goods houses. I mean, you mentioned Jonathan Anderson. Anyone else that really stood out to you or is standing out to you as just a visionary creative?
Tell you what I'm interested in at the moment. I don't know. My quiet obsession is watching what Gap's going to do.
Interesting.
Yeah. I tell you, with Zach Posen going in, and also I just feel that they've taken what was so sexy in the 90s. Have you looked at some of their campaigns where they've got the dancers back and they've mixed it with just the music scene of this sort of cultural youth of today, and it looks very of the moment while still being, yes, that's Gap. And I'm interested that the CEO of Barbie's gone in. I think that's just incredible. What that says to me is we're going to be looking at how I create joy and branding that's connected to where we want to feel in our hearts, just free and joyful in a time when the world's quite a rocky place.
Yes, with quite sort of basic pieces.
Yeah, because I think I was thinking about this because I was thinking, how will they differentiate themselves from Uniqlo, which is just nailing it with partnerships, really nailing it, isn't it?
And with Claire Wakeley in there.
Oh,
I mean,
man,
genius move.
Really genius. How are they going to do that? And then I kind of think there's still that kind of very louche, fabulous LA feel that isn't Uniqlo, you know? But that has that attitude with it, and I think that's the playground they should play on. Look at me, I'm directing from afar.
Well,
I've always loved that business. I always thought it under Mickey Drexler, it was one of my favourites, and I just used to love the sort of freedom and lightness. We all had it in our wardrobe.
Yeah, but you're so right. It is those words, freedom and lightness, isn't it? And it's just the perfect white T-shirt. Which is, my obsession. Now, back in the day, you created a collection for House of Fraser.
Yes, I did.
Targeting the needs of the 40-plus women. And I just wondered how you feel that the needs of the 40, 50, 60, 70-plus woman is being addressed today.
Oh, look, I think we've woken up to the fact that that's where the money is, Amanda. I mean, you knew that. That's what we knew, that the money is with women who have a disposable income and have a confidence as well. You know, even when I go back to my Harvey Nichols days, you know, it doesn't matter how out there or how crazy the ideas that we put into the world. Our market were women who came in at that time and spent the most on Max Mara, Nicole, Furry and Joseph. It was not the youth that was spending that sort of money. That doesn't mean that you don't market in a wonderful, youthful way. And when I did that collection, I always sort of think, why isn't this happening? You know, a question comes to me, and what I couldn't understand then, and it sounds crazy now because people do market to that age group, is I couldn't even find a model that was still on the books of the model agencies that was over 40.
Yeah. And now that's completely changed.
And now that's completely changed, and you've got incredible campaigns. You know, I love, you know, some of the Celine campaigns. And when they put in Maggie Smith, it was just like crazy, fabulous, strong women. And the response was great. And you didn't even have to go that older. You know, you didn't have to go to a 90-year-old woman.
Yeah.
But we're seeing a lot more of that. And it just wasn't happening then. And I was like, this is crazy, because actually this is a very sexy age to be, a very confident age to be.
Totally.
And why do we diminish that? You know, what was our obsession with youth? And yes, I totally understand the physicality of the obsession with youth, because I still don't care what anyone says. You see a young girl in a sort of pair of jeans, lightly hanging off her backside in a tiny t-shirt. It looks great.
Amazing.
On that body, right?
Yeah.
And of course it does. But equally, you've got women who can wear style with confidence in a different way, and we just weren't showing it. And so I just decided to do it. And I went to the BBC and said, I'd just like, you know, because I often come up with ideas when I was doing different shows. And let's see if this would work. Follow me doing this. And it was just really just eye-opening. But more than that, Amanda, was the amount of women that just went, hallelujah. And you can talk to me about my body and my image and actually not feel I have to, you know, slip into a size 8 or a 6 model size. It was just really eye-opening and profitable.
Good. What is your opinion of the sort of current state of British fashion?
Look, you know, I think the always the case with when it comes to British fashion. I mean, there's some great, you know, little brands that are out there that I just think, wow, you know, and I always think, and what I look back when I wrote this book and started to look at the British Fashion Council, which had kind of just set up then, you know.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that because I was like, they were really early doors, how far we've come and how amazing, you know, and celebratory it's become and recognised globally, you know. So I think we've come such a far, and also because of the digital world, you know, I'm speaking to small British brands who are able to sell internationally very much easier than you'll remember, you know, what it was like in the 90s. And I still think there's that wonderful, and I don't want to say the word quirkiness, but there's still that the feeling of that kind of great sort of Britishness in how we approach stuff. You know, I've just opening up a market. I've just got MasterCard to come in and support doing a market for small British designers, not just fashion, but innovation across all of retail.
Brilliant. And where is that?
And there's one I'm opening up in Manchester, and the other one is in the Truman Brewery in London, which is next weekend. And I just want to see 15, and I got inundated by so many innovative, great businesses that just made me smile in my heart that, you know, we are in that time where we're coming back out of this change that I talk about. And actually at the heart of the only thing that's going to get us into a great place is innovation and creativity. And there's so much out there.
And those are just for the weekend, or?
Yeah, I'm doing it just for a weekend, 3 days, and 15 different businesses in each. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. And did they have to apply to
Yeah, they wanted to apply. God, there was hundreds. It was very difficult. So there's a different mix of interiors, homewares, fashion. Ones I loved on the fashion were not just selling vintage, but repurposing clothes and just making them so interesting. There's just, you can see people, you know, when you're up against it, that's when the ideas come.
Yeah.
Where do I go from here? You know, we all had that in COVID.
Yeah.
Where do I go? Oh my God, that world's changed out there. How do I innovate? So
Yes, and out of that vibe comes creativity, doesn't it?
There's a lovely little British brand called Tove that I'm loving at the moment. You know, they're
Gorgeous.
Yeah, gorgeous. And I was talking to them, Cam, who owns that, and they're doing one in the States. Very beautiful, very beautiful. Yeah, there's some great stuff.
I hope you're documenting that. I hope someone's following you with a camera the whole way round this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I just got a note from government today, Secretary of State's going to turn up, because I'm like, listen, you know, when you go on about the high streets, we need to give tax breaks to people because the innovation and creativity is here. They want it in the physical space. People are craving physical interaction.
Yeah.
Let's put the two together. You know, it's even like me being on the road. I was listening to Richard Osman. He said he was on his book tour and he said, you know, we were all obsessed by how important digital was and being on social media to get your book out there. He said, actually, what really works is you go out, you go on a stage, you meet people and they want to come and they want to talk and they want to hear the stories.
Yeah.
And that, I think, has really changed. I think we are realizing that we're neurobiologically wired to connect.
Yeah. As human beings. Yes.
It's human beings.
Yeah.
Even us. You said, no, I don't do a podcast. I want to sit together.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the conversations that eke out, the connection. Oh my gosh, you're here. The physicality, understanding where your world is now, where I am.
Yeah.
It goes bigger, it goes wider.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating, the journey that you have been on and are still on. I love the way that you just have chapter after chapter after chapter. And I think it's so inspiring. Now, today we're going on your personal style journey. So let's start with what you're wearing. Can you talk me through it?
I'm wearing this jumpsuit that I've become quietly obsessed with, this little brand, because it is my, oh gosh, I'm going to get up and I could either be going to the shops or I could be coming and sitting with Amanda Wakeley, or I could be on stage doing a talk. And it's by Wilding, Wylding. And I have I'm lucky enough to have a second home in Stroud, in Gloucestershire. And it's a very kind of arty, creative community. And actually, funnily, I'll tell you how I discovered this, because I found this architect who I worked with at Harvey Nichols, who did some work with me at Harvey Nichols, Richard Found. And I had bumped into him at a friend's birthday party. I hadn't seen him in years. And he said to me, oh, come for lunch. I have a house near where you've bought, you know. So I said, okay. Well, it took us ages to get together. And he sent me a note. He said, Mary, we've got to put this date in the diary. And it was a very casual sort of Saturday afternoon. He said, come to my house. And so I remember it's beautiful summer and I dressed so casually. I was being in the garden and I just picked some lovely Arabella big flowers and I took them around. I'd made some apple juice. This is my other life. Well, I sent them off to be pressed. And and I thought I'll bring around a bottle of apple juice to Richard's house. I turn up and he's got all the Gloucestershire fashion press. Plum Sykes is in there. Yeah, I thought it was going to be Cash, Plum and her husband, and they were, you know, Divine, there was wonderful catered drinks, and I'd come in with my flowers and the apple juice.
What were you wearing?
I think an old pair of sort of really old Levi's, I think I was wearing, and a white shirt, which I love and you'd love.
Love that.
But I'd gone in with that, I'm just having supper with them round, and it was all the old-fashioned crew, one of the ex-Vogue stylists and her husband, and Jamie Dornan, the actor, but with his wife, who created this collection.
Brilliant.
But she was telling me about this collection. She was lovely, really lovely, and she came from the same part of Ireland that my parents had come from, so I ended up chatting to her. And anyway, I then saw someone in it, and I was like, is that the Wilding jumpsuit? And I had to wait because they create it in the UK, and I just love it. And because what it is, look,
it looks quite technical,
isn't it? It's technical because you can go swimming. It's really about Wilding. So instead of those big coats that everybody walks around after a swim, you come out. So it's got the lovely orange fleece inside, and I've got one in a chocolate brown and pale blue, turquoisey blue. And you can dress it up or dress it down. And every time I wear it, people go, where's that from?
Yeah. I love it because it's one and done dressing.
It's One and done, is that what we said?
Love a bit of one and done. Your brooch. This season's podcast is sponsored by one of my favourite supplements, Gold Collagen. I've always believed that style isn't just about what we wear, it's about how we feel and how we hold ourselves. And for me, feeling confident really starts with how I look after myself. If we feel good, we look good. That's why I wanted to share a brilliant addition to my daily routine. I've been taking Gold Collagen Forte Ageless for 6 months now, and it's become such an effortless part of my daily routine. I love the simplicity of all my supplements being packed into a little glass bottle that I can slip into my bag and sip at my convenience during the day, and it's truly delicious. I see it as a treat to self. It's packed with 12 grams of hydrolyzed marine collagen and also contains elastin, ceramides, pro-retinol and lots of other ingredients that your body will thank you for. They all work together as a general wellness supplement to support my skin, hair, nails, from the inside out, as well as my joints and overall energy levels during the day. I noticed a difference within a matter of weeks. For me, great style starts from within. If we feel great, that inner confidence truly shines through. Enjoy 20% off the full Gold Collagen range at goldcollagen.com with code Amanda20.
Oh yes, sorry. Listen, I've hardly worn it all day. This was given to me by my friend Sofka OBE, who's a writer, and we go to this lovely island in I've just said it. I shouldn't have said Patmos in Greece, which quite a few fashion people go to. And I met her there years ago, and she's a writer, brilliant writer, and she's written some incredible books. And her book was out the same time as mine, and she just sent me this, the good luck thing, and it's the beautiful Greek eye, isn't it?
Yes. And have you kept that on
I've just
during
kept it on.
your book
I've
tour?
just kept it on from my book tour, and I've got her energy there, and she's just a wonderful person.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. And the boots.
Old Chloe. I love them because they've got these
They've got a sock in them,
sock in them, and then they just look so casual, but also can be really cute and smart, and they're really comfortable. And the older they get, the more soft they get.
The better they are. Yeah. Glasses?
Well, you get to the age where you need the glasses, and I'm very lucky. I actually have 20/20 vision, so I have very good vision, but my reading and seeing close up is not great. So this is a little company that just, because I sends them to me, called Good Lookers, and they're pretty cheap. And I have every colour possible, and on every floor of the house and whatever, every room you go into there's a pair of my glasses, because I can't bear if I can't read something straight away. But I don't want them hanging on a chain.
Oh, no. But you're okay with them when you're not reading?
Yes, because they're very light.
I put mine on just for reading.
Yeah. No. I need mine just a little bit more than that.
Yeah. Well, they look great. They look great. Now, you grew up where?
Watford.
And you were one of
five.
And do you remember, was your mother very stylish?
Oh, listen, we didn't have much at all, but my mother was very much the classics. And she, and my mother and my father, look, we came from very little, but my father and my mother would twice a year go and get their wardrobe. And my father would be Austin Reed, which there was an Austin Reed at the top of the town, and he would get, he really, I never saw him ever casually. He was always smartly dressed in great blazers and trousers. And my mother was much the same. He was a sales manager for Brooke Bond Tea.
Yeah.
It was really funny. I was talking to Lulu Guinness, who lives near me, and we were laughing because both of our mothers, even though our friends' parents went into that sort of 60s style when we were younger, our parents didn't, and they stayed in that sort of quite tweedy, classic 50s, late 50s, polite. And so I never saw my mother in any of that gear, and it sort of made them feel older.
Yeah.
They weren't wearing the swinging 60s stuff, so I never saw any of that in the wardrobe. And actually had, I was thinking about this, which would have been, I went to someone's house whose grandmother had died, and there was just one small wardrobe. And we were saying, can you imagine? But that's what my mother had. She had her one lovely wardrobe, and my father had his.
And they looked after it.
And they looked after it, and great shoes. And there was just a classic, they enjoyed clothes. All my family did. All my siblings. It's been part of our identity for sure, expressing ourselves through clothes. But my brothers are the same, my sisters are the same. My brothers particularly buy beautiful, great classic pieces.
But do you remember that first time that you put something on and it felt really good? Or maybe not?
Amanda, I tell this story every time I'm on stage. When people say, can we ever get people to buy recycle, upcycle? When I was a child, one of 5, the excitement came when my Auntie Kathy came round with a bin liner of clothes that were my cousin Caroline's clothes. She was very thin. I was very thin. My sister was slim, but not as thin as me. And the excitement, and I remember
Shopping in a bin bag. Love
heaven
it.
opened up. Now I will never forget this. There was a purple pair of knitted flares, and they just sat on my little hips. I would have been, what, 12, and I had the cheesecloth t-shirt. The excitement of putting that on and knowing at that age that was kind of my look. I mean, my first big buy was a jumpsuit from Miss Selfridge's, bright red with Shell written on the back, promoting Shell garages. And it was just like, meant to be a sort of boiler suit. And I just knew that sort of, that silhouette was less the piece, but more that was my silhouette. That whole look of that sort of 70s and slim, and that was, and then my mother bought me my very first pair of Oxford bags, 3-buttoned button, big baggy trouser, and I looked at the other day, someone sent me a Jackie magazine cover. My sister went, that was you. And there was this girl on a chopper bike, which I had, with her denim jeans tucked into bright coloured socks. So for me, that was my identity. And at the time it was, Bolan and Bowie, and that sort of, you didn't know whether they're male or female. They dressed in that glam rock way. And that was my just joy. And still to this day, if I put on something like that, I've got one of those great Gucci green suits.
Oh.
And I put it on and I'm back there.
Love it. I love it.
Understated not.
And did you wear a school uniform?
Yeah, maroon and a boater. I mean, we went to a convent, literally outdoor uniform, indoor shoes, boater for the summer.
And has the colour maroon been good, bad, or indifferent for you as a result?
I really did enjoy school. I liked my school. It was a small 300 girl school, and a convent. And actually, really sweetly, I was doing one of my book tours the other day, and I just looked in the front row. 8 of them had just turned up from school and were sitting in the front row. How cute is that?
Oh my God, how lovely! How lovely. Now, you went on to your first job at Harrods.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you wore for that first day?
I know what I wore for the interview.
Oh, tell me.
Well, I got
because you were interviewing for being
display assistant.
Yes.
Display assistant. So to get onto the display team.
Yeah.
Which was, I think there was about like 25, 30. It was extraordinary, You had this team of front stylists from the front windows, which was the premium, then you got the back windows team, then the side windows team. Actually, it must be more than that. They were the menswear. Then there was the weigh-in. Then there was the ground floor beauty team. It was like incredible. But I went for the interview and I turned up to my sister who was training at UCH, and she at her little flat, and she dressed me in a black pencil skirt because I had to look professional. And a white shirt, a little fitted white shirt that I just turned the arm up on, which always still looks so great. So I wore that to my interview. But my first day, listen, I was scrappy, lowly, little window dressing assistant. And I had an Andrew Wiles. I don't know if you remember Andrew Wiles, who ended up being the marketing director at Harrods. Gorgeous man. Yeah. And he still remembers me turning up in the blue pinstripe dungarees with kicker boots, red kicker boots on. So that.
And so did the dungarees become a bit of a uniform for the window dressing?
Yeah, they wore them because you were practical and you're scrapping on your knees. And then it's sort of, don't forget, it's a sort of just post-punk. You're talking about 1980, So there was still that, my friend was just completely obsessed by Susie and the Banshees, and she dressed like that, literally had these crazy little leather trousers on and mad makeup. It's very, very expressive time, but I was very much the dungaree girl.
So then on to Topshop.
And this is where the difference, because I often talk about this. So Topshop, display manager, I was 25, and it was extraordinary time. And it was the time of just, that store on Oxford Street where the music went on, the DJs would turn up, 5 DJs. You know, could
It
you
was
imagine?
iconic, wasn't it?
Can you imagine, like, you know, who's on today? And the DJs would come into little meetings to work out what music they were playing, and I'd be working out what we were putting in the windows and whatever. And so from Topshop, I went to Harvey Nichols, and I never forget, I turned up looking like Cyndi Lauper, and all the customers looked like Princess Di, and there was the Sloane Rangers. It was like,
It was another era of
was.
Harvey Nicks.
It was.
I mean, Harvey Nichols.
Yeah. It was Harvey Nichols, and some of the others called it Harveys, didn't they? Yes. Harveys. Oh, you've gone to Harveys. But this was the Sloane Ranger time. People forget that was so powerful. And everyone talked like that. And they had little frilly collars and pearls.
And pearls. Yes.
And the Knightsbridge knotted, which was a little knotted scarf on the handbag. And I'm coming in like, whoa. Whoa, hair colour. It was that fluorescent fashion time, ankle socks and that.
And this, did you had red hair then?
Yeah, but I dyed, I mean, I was dyeing it every colour. I think God knows what was happening there.
It's amazing you still have such a good hair.
Any hair.
Oh my God. And so then as your job became bigger and bigger, ending up on the board, how did your style evolve through
I think
that
there's two
time?
really key people that really influenced my style. One was the buying director who had extraordinary style. She really did. And she just, we had much the same bodies, the same height. And I just loved everything about her style. I mean, she obviously, you know, she was in the powerful position because in those days, and you all know this, the buying director decided whether your collections came into the store. And, you know,
I remember. Yep.
Powerful.
Yeah.
And, you know, she really had an incredible eye. And so I think she was one, I just used to watch her style. And but the other was Anna Harvey, who was the deputy. I loved this woman. And she was part scary, part soulful, beautiful woman. Maternal.
Yeah.
And it was at the time when I was doing these crazy windows, and Vogue said, we'd like to write a piece for Spy Page about you. And I'd had lunch with Anna Harvey, and she was just guiding me in the most beautiful way on how to be, I guess, you know, and done with real love and affection. And, you know, I've met people often talk about women in business, you know, they can be quite combative. And there are, of course, combative at everything. But I met a lot of great women who were, you know, loved the fact there's this young girl and helped me along the way. But on the day that I was being starred, Izzy Blow turns up, and I'm like,
can we just explain who Izzy Blow was for those that may not know?
So Isabella Blow was a stylist. I don't know what her exact title was for Vogue, but she was crazy, man. She was bohemian. She was eccentric. She was old English. Well, actually, her house, her family house, but where I have my house in Stroud, artistic. She dressed like I can only. It was you couldn't express the dress, but she mismatched and crazy. I mean, I think it was Lagerfeld who spotted her once and said, "Who is this woman?" When she had one Manolo Blahnik in a red shoe on and the other was blue, and like that was totally purposeful. Her lipstick was this bright red that was often on her teeth, and she didn't care.
It was often everywhere, wasn't it?
Often eye makeup. She was cute, and she was like a little sort of puppy, crazy little puppy as well. There was a sadness about her. There was a madness about her, and she was Philip Tracy. She wore Philip Tracy hats constantly, indoors, outdoors, in bed probably. God knows. But she discovered McQueen, really. She was the one who discovered Lee McQueen, and she was extraordinary. So she turned up. But what had happened before is that Anna Harvey had given me sort of really key looks on what she thought would suit me and what I needed to buy. One of which
were?
Well, one was what she called Le Smoking, which was Saint Laurent's dinner suit. And I was like, wow. And I looked at the price and nearly died. And then I waited for the sale and put my discount on it and bought this suit. I still wear it today. If I'm doing an after dinner speech and every time I put it on, I think of Anna. And she just told me which white shirt to get. And at the time it was, Izzy Miyake was very big, and the Japanese designers and the cut. And so and the other one who I really loved, which really, really suited me, was Claude Montano. And I'd bought, again, with my little discounts, I bought these classic pieces. Was this beautiful Claude Montana sleeveless pink gilet jacket that went long, with a Donna Karan body roll neck underneath. I just was going to be photographed and I had my hair very short. Izzy turns up with a rail of clothes that looked like she'd just stopped off at some theatre for Madame Twanky or Widow Twanky. And wanted me to be this crazy person in the windows, but I wasn't that. I was now taking my style tips from the buying director and Anna Harvey, and it's just like, no, we've got to have you crazy. I said, no, I'm not the mannequin in the window, Izzy, and I'll never forget that. And complete tussle.
Were you ultimately photographed in the Claude Montana?
Or the Claude Montana, of course. I photographed in the Claude Montana and made the windows the craziness, and I was just standing there in that little outfit. But yeah, those years really taught me, and all you designers coming in, and we were all that age of, just in our late 20s and 30s, and it was just a time where beautiful collections where I just was like, wow, in heaven. I enjoyed every part of it. But yes, I think the inspiration was that, and also don't forget the catwalk shows we'd go to.
Yeah.
People often ask me, well, how do you style yourself sometimes? And I just thought, well, we saw such beautiful ways of expressing fashion, tangentially, creatively, layered, out there. It sort of gave you a confidence to be there as well sometimes,
Yeah. I mean, you had to attend a lot of shows with Harvey Nichols, didn't you? Do you remember how you approached your show season wardrobe or your packing and all of that?
Yes, it was an art form.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking about this the other day because, and also, the buying director would say, we're going to Calvin or we're going to, Dolce. You need to be wearing that.
Whoa.
Because you'd have the meetings with them afterwards.
Yeah.
There's no way you were going to be wandering in Moschino to a Dolce.
So how did that work?
Well, I think we were lucky enough that we got decent discounts because I would not have been able to afford it anywhere near enough. And also I liked so much of the stuff that we were buying. So I would be mixing that. But you would know which shows you were going to and what to be putting on. And then you'd meet all the press who were sort of doing the same. So it was the front row buying teams, which were us, and then the press on the other side.
Yeah.
It was just, you got to know everybody. You'd be the same place, the same restaurants. There was something very wonderful and unifying about that,
And I mean, I think for us in the fashion industry, we can be a little bit guilty about sizing people up on what they are wearing.
Yeah.
Is that something that you were conscious of?
That I still do, Amanda? I think that's the question that we're getting to there. I sort of do, though. Yeah. I do. Because I think it says a lot about people, and I've come to forgive myself, as it were, because I think there was a time when, and it's not now, it was, if you were in the front row at the shows, you wanted to have the latest bag and the latest outfit, and the press were in that. And invariably, let's be honest, they had theirs got for free. No, that's the truth of it, They were getting stuff for free. I was married to a fashion journalist, I know, like...
Vast amounts.
That were sent. So it was a lot easier to a certain extent. And there was a kind of snobbery with that. There was, and a stress that went with that. I think we'd be lying not to. But... do I still look at people and judge? It's not so much a judging, but I can kind of tell where they are. Even when I'm traveling the country and the audiences, you can feel, really interesting. I was in Wales and they were all dressed up so beautifully, for this evening. It was really in Abergavenny, and it was just like all these very beautiful, polished women turned up for the event, and sometimes, the other ones I'd be going, Bath were much more relaxed and, arty. And so I think you can tell a lot from how people dress. And I think still to this day, if I see someone, I think, wow, that's cool. There's an attraction there. You are attracted to, I do love great style. Even this morning before coming here, it's my daughter and her boyfriend was staying because it's his birthday, and they're into their clothes, not silly, but and he's particularly into it. And I love just sitting there sharing his, you know, picking what pieces, you know, these Japanese designers he's into. And I'm like, I loved his look, you know, and I thought, well, yeah, I can see why my daughter's attracted to this boy, the way he dresses and the way he styles himself. I think it says a lot about people, but I don't want to definitely be in that snobbery, awful way when we were on the road on the tours, which was sometimes really quite tough.
But really tough.
Yeah.
But so the planning of that.
Yeah.
Did you sort of literally do big try-ons and work out?
No, I've never been that, because I got to the stage where I do know my stuff and I know what fits and knows. I look at you today, you'll know what you can get up and put on. You just know it. That's years of knowing your body. So I did have that, but also, you know, the buying team were also really supportive. We'd swap things. And I was lucky. I was always been a sort of size 10, which was sample size then. It ain't now.
Yeah.
But you used to be able to get a nice sample sale.
Yeah.
I loved a sample sale, Amanda. Loved a little sample sale.
And now the size 6
Oh, get out of
or
it.
4.
You know?
I mean, it's just, a bit scary, isn't it? It really is. You must have been photographed by some extraordinary photographers. Were you ever taken out of your stylistic comfort zone? Obviously not for the Vogue shoot, but was there ever a time?
That's a really interesting story. That's a really interesting question, because I think, yes, I look back on some where I go, what was I wearing in that? Or I've had photographers, interestingly, the other way, that want to do a very particular style of photography that's their style and was right for that magazine. And I remember feeling limited in my body movements as well. And when you're limited in your body movements, I think that affects how you feel as well. So I've definitely had that. I look back, I've got them, because you get photographed an awful lot, especially when you do TV as well. And from, you know, interviews that I've done over the years. And you go, where do I put all these? And some of them are most incredible, because you don't want to sound like the little sort of crazy little egotistical tosser who's got loads of pictures of themselves around the house.
So what do you do with them?
Well, I put them in my private bathroom. And I quite love it. And it's just, they're quite joyous, you know. I really like Nadav Kanda photograph. I love Nadav's work. And I put them in my bathroom, and some up the top of the house, because they're just beautiful pieces. And maybe one day my kids will go, oh, I'll want that, Mum. But they don't. They just take for granted what you've done. You know, they take for granted, and I'm sure they don't read my books or listen to Heart.
I'm sure they do.
No, Amanda, I'm sure they don't.
They will one day.
They will one day, and that's what I think. And also, actually, my daughter turned up to my talk last night, which was really very sweet, you know. But
and she thought to herself, I will actually read that book.
Yeah, she probably thinks, God, she's in it. No,
actually. Tell her to listen to it, because I think the fact that you narrate it is just, I loved it. It just took me on a really nostalgic journey.
Oh, I'm glad. You know, when I turned up, what was hilarious, I turned up to do the recording. And it's a lot of work when you're recording in a studio. And I'm not a trained actress, but I enjoy doing reading. And I turned up to do my audiobook, and standing outside, ready to go in, with a fag on, was Joanna Lumley.
Oh.
Right, now, I have not seen her since those years.
The
Ab Fab, when we filmed in Harvey Nicks.
Oh, my God.
She went, darling, what's doing her? In that gorgeous way. I said, I'm doing my recording. She said, I'm doing mine. And she sat with me.
You are so good at mimicking voices.
And she sat with me and then gave a quote for the book and just remembered the years. And it was just like, I thought, you know, when things come together, when you said to me, why this book now? There are times when energy just comes together.
And the universe just
and there was Joanna.
How lovely.
How fabulous is that? Yeah.
Totally. Coming back to photographs for 1 second, what would you say is your favourite photograph of you of all times? And can you describe it? Portrait.
I think it's, there's some fun things. I think there was a beautiful one that Nadav Kanda did. I loved his stuff. And he photographed me in an old shop that was empty. And I had this really wonderful, it was a big white shirt on. And I can't remember who designed it. And had this big, who was the designer? I'll think of it. It was bright coloured face that was on the shirt, and I thought, I've worn the wrong thing here. You know, this is going to be difficult for him. And he was just remarkable. And he put me inside this shop, and it had just an old light that was hanging down, and he made me just come up to the window, and I just was talking to him like this, and he went, blow, blow. And he just caught me in this wonderful shoot. It is really actually a work of art. He's an absolute artist. I absolutely adore that one. I really like that. And the others are so, you know, I feel I've moved into a very different phase. The Times of TV and my Bob, there were some extraordinary pictures. In The Guardian one day did this most beautiful one, and I had a lovely, I was wearing just a very simple black dress, but I'd put with it a Roland Mouret jacket, which had these big furry, it wasn't furry, they were like feathery sleeves on it. And they just had me in a chair on the side, and they got my bob, and there was just these feathery sleeves, and I had very little makeup on. It just captured who I felt I was at that time, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you've had so many different personas, really. Do you have a sort of work Mary
I'm a
wardrobe?
Gemini, Amanda.
Of course, there's Mary and Mary.
And Mary and Mary.
Which Mary have we got
Mary
today?
And there's other Marys.
But do you have a sort of work Mary persona and then a home Mary persona in terms of wardrobe?
Do you know what's interesting on that? Yes, of course, to an extent, but I've also found them melting into the same space now, which, you know, how many pairs of shoes have I got and boots that are high that I don't wear? You know, and I found myself walking London rather than jumping in cabs. I found that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. And I'm thinking, is that because we're thinking that's just crazy, you know, what it's doing to the environment? I don't know. Maybe that. But I find myself that the two are melding much more into one than that used to be very separate. I mean, the Mary Queen of Shops outfits were lined up, and it was, you know, what was it? My ex-wife said, Bob's, bangles and boots. Have you got your 3 Bs on? Bob, bangles, boots, and we're off.
I mean, would you say you've got a style icon?
Well, I know who it used to be, Ines de la Freshange. I just used to look at her and just think she was just, I haven't seen pics of her in a long while.
I can see that for the Mary I knew at Harvey Nicks days.
Yeah.
I don't see that now.
No. I just...
You've got much cooler.
Have I?
Yes. just in a much more relaxed way.
Yeah.
But I suppose that
maybe
comes
that's because in those days, you know, you're in a system. Doesn't matter what.
Yes.
You're in a system.
Yeah.
You are within a construct of a business. And now I'm just me. And I suppose those years after when I left, and I was only, you know, really in my mid-30s when I left. You know.
God, that's extraordinary.
Yeah. And then, you know, I just did my own thing. And of course, then TV came my way, and you know, but I feel I'm much more relaxed in my fashion now. So I love that kind of boyish LA sort of look.
Do you think there's something about that and age?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, but then again, you say that it's really interesting, Amanda, because one of the things, and the reason why I grew my hair out, it was COVID. And I found myself sort of ringing my hairdresser, and it was like the French Resistance coming undercover to come and colour my hair in the back garden in the Cotswolds. I was like, come at 11, no one will see.
Oh God, we all had our hair done in the garden, didn't we?
And I was kept on getting invited onto the news to talk about this. So many businesses were collapsing. And my hair was just like, you know, the old streak came through. And I remember my daughter going, Mum, leave it. And I remember I was going into this different persona, not different shift in my energy, in my way that I was looking at the world. It just happened. And I don't, you know, it did, you know, I couldn't say, it just grew out. No, I was actually growing out, you know, and I was going into a completely different space. And I think my fashion went with that. And I've sort of nurtured that more and more. It just feels I know completely how I want to style myself. Do you know, I did something the other day. It was just when I was about to go on the road for about 2 months, and I didn't want to buy anything new, and I called up one of my old team who styled with me at Topshop years ago. She was a brilliant stylist. I said, Mandy, would you come round and go through my wardrobe with me? Amanda, I never laughed so much. She came round with different things. Lookbook, she loves it. And she, have you got this? Goes, yeah, I've got that. Yeah, I've got that. Oh, I've got that jacket. Oh, yeah. And we just changed, and I took and mixed everything. And then some things, I took out a pink pair of boots with a blue heel I hadn't worn in years from Marcus Almeida, and then chucked that on with a pair of jeans and then a white shirt, and then belted it into a new scarf. We just had the best time.
It's so fun to do that with someone that you know and trust, and who knows your personality.
Yes. And laughed our heads off and just had such fun. It was really, really lovely thing to do. But it made me go, no, that's so not what I'd wear again. I know that's not going to come back out, but this is.
Interesting. I mean, you've been married twice.
Yes.
What did you wear for your first marriage to Graham Portas?
I wore a David Fielding wedding dress with a big fishtail. It's fabulous.
And what era was that?
That was late 80s. Yeah. And I was working at Topshop, and the buyers there, one of which was Jane Shepherdson, who then went on to run it. Yeah. They knew all, and I knew I wanted a very slim time, big. It was like that big fishtail. Yeah. And one of my team made this ruched headdress. It was gorgeous. I loved that wedding outfit. I sold it very quickly after. So true.
And then your second marriage.
Well, Antonio Berardi created matching outfits for us, but like I wore lovely. It was like an oyster pearly grey beigey silk and bright orange skirt and jacket that matched it. Beautiful, beautiful. And Melanie wore a dress, tiny dress that was in the same fabric. He was just adorable doing that. That was joyous, really joyous. And then Hadley Freeman's sister was the photographer. She was a photographer, journal photographer. She did the best photograph, just running through Marylebone High Street with the camera.
And so very reportage.
Oh, it was just magical. She was brilliant.
Oh,
brilliant.
Brilliant. And then in 2024, you were awarded an OBE.
Oh, big Ed. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. How did you decide what you were wearing for that day?
I knew I wanted to wear a suit, a trouser suit, but I wanted a proper bespoke, trouser fitted.
So where did you go?
I went to Savile Row. And there's a women's company that designed for women's suits there that just did the suit for me. It was just gorgeous. Honestly, it was divine.
Can you describe it to me?
It was a creamy white, very low cut, very tight at the waist, long jacket, very simple, straight trouser in like a cream white with a black stripe. Very, very simple.
Hat?
No, didn't do any of that. I'm so not a hat person unless it's a cash hat. I love a cash hat.
Yeah.
I love a cash hat. I tell you what I want, if you know where I can get one, Amanda. I want a Diane Keaton hat in memory of her. I love that hat that she used to wear. Those big, they're like the bowler hat, but they're bigger. They're super cool.
I bet you Philip does those.
Do you think it's got to have that? They're really cool. I just love that look, and I suit a hat. I like
it. It wouldn't surprise me if those were Philip's.
Do you think so?
I think he's really clever with those sort of reproportioning. A top hat,
that's
a bowler. Go and have a chat with him. Now, if I were to ask your daughter how she would describe your style DNA in 3 words, what 3 words would those be?
Well, let me put it this way. You're never going to get one answer out of this, do you, man? Let me put it this way. My daughter doesn't buy anything new because she's a real right-honour, and her whole thing is how we're going to create a better world, and I love her for this, right? But she takes everything from my wardrobe. So we just say that, Amanda? So my daughter's style DNA, I look at, like you dress like me, don't you, Verity? I know you don't want to say you do, but you do. So I think she would say, oh, that's really difficult because you're asking me to describe my style, dear Nick.
I am.
You cheeky
But I think it's
Charlie.
easier, you know, if you're doing it through someone else's eyes sometimes.
Yes, I think.
But you know what? You know your own style. You tell me what it is.
I think she'd say it's confident.
Yeah.
I think she'd say that, and I think she'd say it's boldly simple, because I think it is. It's and what's the third one?
Well, that's 2 words.
Oh, it is. How about that? And confident and boldly simple.
I like that. I really like that. So coming on to you, your body, is exercise an important part of your life?
Yeah, but I've done this. It's really. I had to do an interview the other day for the Times, and I looked who'd done it before me, and Ab Fab was sitting in the green Gucci suit that I actually have, and I thought, oh, please. We know we were talking about aging, and I'm going to get onto this. Aging can take 2 ways. Well, of how you look. I worried that I might end up like one of those over-the-top women that age with a really red bob, the glasses get bigger.
I think you're doing it in reverse, though.
I'm doing reverse.
Yeah.
I'm doing reverse. So, and I like that. I like less makeup, less on me. I still like great jewelry. I like great necklaces. I haven't put them on today because I was just all over the place, but I love I love that simplicity, but then bold statements on certain things. So anyway, one of the things that I read, and I love this. I used to run every day, and I didn't realize I pronate. So my knees are I've just got no cartilage left in my knees, which means I can't really run. And I hate the thought that I would have to have a time in my diary that I need to go to the gym, or there's a pressure on my body that I haven't put that in. I don't feel good. So I don't do that. But I do Pilates about 3 times a week. I haven't done it because I've been on the road and it's been very difficult. But that core strength, every morning I get up, I'll do sit-ups and I do the stretch exercise because I've got a slightly herniated disc, which can, if I'm not careful, can play. And I walk everywhere where I can, if possible. So, and when I'm particularly in the Cotswolds, I'm like a lunatic. I get up first thing in the morning and I put on the worst old pair of bottoms, jogging bottoms, that if I got caught on camera, I'd be totally ashamed. But no one cares there. No one gives them monkeys, and I love it. And I put on my walking boots and I stick my peak cap on and I go up Swifts Hill, which is just behind my house, until my heart is beating. It's nothing, it just does 10 minutes up there, 10 minutes back down, get home, have a coffee.
Lovely, lovely. And your approach to your own beauty, hair, nails,
well,
makeup,
I don't go and have my nails done. I'm terrible, but I do sometimes. I love I look after my skin. I'm lucky I've got my mother's skin. She had a very good skin, an Irish sort of lighter skin, so I've not got too many problems on that. I have to have a good haircut, and I am lucky that my brother is a hairdresser, and yeah, he's cut my hair for years. But I like my hair. If my hair doesn't feel right, I don't feel right. Yeah. And I like really good skin creams and oils. I look after myself on that. And I'm lucky enough that I've learned sort of fundamental makeup routines from having my face done for filming or shooting. And I get great makeup artists and go, oh, Mary, get this. Or so I like doing my makeup. I am obsessed about body oils. I love great body oils. Then that's it's making my body feel richer, but I'm not a loads of makeup, and I don't, spend a fortune on spas forever. I just don't. Mine is from being outside in nature.
Yeah. And tweakments, where are you at on that?
I've had Botox. And I actually was watching Bobby Brown the other day, and she was saying on radio that she's never had it done. And I'm looking, well, she looks good because Bobby Brown's got to be in her 70s now, hasn't she?
Or maybe 60s, I would.
Would you think 60s maybe? I remember launching Bobby Brown and I think maybe I should stop because I have it only about twice a year. I'll have a bit down around by my eyes and my forehead, and I think maybe I shouldn't do it. And I want to know, because the thing is, I genuinely do look at those women aging that don't have much done, and they do look better. But then again, I look at people like Julianne Moore, who's my age, and think there's got to be a facelift going on there because you can't look that good, can you? Can you look that good?
I am not going to say anything.
No,
on
but I
camera.
just put it. But I know, but no, or if it isn't, Julianne, you're just gorgeous.
I think what I'm surprised about is the number of 30-year-olds.
Oh no, don't. It's just
that are
don't go there.
Deep
No, don't.
facelifts.
No, don't go there. That's what she was talking about.
I think it's the sort of Kardashian effect.
It's just shocking. It's just shocking.
Yeah.
And also, I don't want to have a face that defies my body.
Yeah.
I don't know what goes on when they take their clothes off, but you know what I mean? I don't want someone to go, ah! I think my body and my face sort of fit. I look after, I've been lucky enough not to, have, I can still get in a bikini and be okay,
Yeah.
But I do, I have the tricks, but I'm thinking maybe I won't do it anymore. Don't know. I just think maybe
very personal, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just helps because I'm a frowner and expression, so it just helps. But that's what I've done.
Let's talk about travel. Talking about bikinis.
Do
you have a particular travel look?
Well, I don't love traveling much. I find it really
You've done a lot.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I do. But I find it just get me there. I'm an impatient person, so I want to be there. I have a particular summer look for my wardrobe, which I'm very clear on what that is, and it just is every year, and I'll just update it slightly, but I love it.
So does your style change for the sort of summer beach look?
Yes, but it's yes, it does, because I wear lots of linen, baggy shirts, linen trousers, loose. Hats, lots of hats. I love hats. I mean, I take about 4 hats away with me, and I'm just like, what is that about? And they're the most difficult things to pack, but a really good straw, big kind of.
So do you pack that?
Yep. And then I leave them at different houses, but then I rent different houses, and then I've got more hats around the island, and I don't know what than heads to go in them. That's for sure.
What luggage do you use?
I'm using the away luggage. That big. They're quite heavy cases, no big square cases. That's the one I use at the moment. And I like them. And I bought some for my son because he travels back on business to New York, and I bought him one of those in a lovely sort of burgundy. I like that luggage.
Yeah.
I've also got, what's the other one? Is it bricks? I really like it. It's done in an olive green, which suits me, and it's got leather little handles. But I have them all up in the attic, my luggage, and sometimes they go missing, Amanda, when you got kids. Where is that one gone? Oh, no. Oh, man.
Oh, funny that.
Stealing kids. Stealing.
If I were to say to you, you can only dress in 2 brands, one high street, one designer, which 2 would those be?
Look at my mouth opening then. That was like that. Well, the 2 that I do dress in, I think that I dress in the most, is Marquess Almeida, the designer ones, because they just do that statement piece that when I want to push it, it's kind of cool and loose and relaxed, but crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm that as well. So I've got these big floral trousers that I can just put on. The cut is that sort of lovely bowler that's just gorgeous, and stick that on with a very simple black shirt, and it looks great. If I just want to go. And people sometimes want a touch of that, and all that great boots that they do. So it would be Marquess Almeida, and it would be, this is difficult because I was going to say Uniqlo. I think it would probably have to be Uniqlo, but I'm wanting Gap to be the one. Does that sound?
Yeah.
And Uniqlo, when you look at what Jonathan did for them as well, I'm like,
Genius.
Come on, and even my son's like, Mum, get me a load of those, Uniqlo Jonathan Anderson socks. They're just so cool. But in some ways, it's the way they've done those partnerships really feels symbiotic rather than we've just got, this label in to work with. It feels like it's really part of their DNA.
Totally. And the Anya one.
Oh,
genius.
Man. I got her little T-shirt. And she's done such great cuts. She did the arm, the right length.
Yeah.
How many times do you want to say, please don't have them too short?
Yeah.
I'm a woman of this age.
Yeah.
It was the right length. Thank you, Anya.
And those cashmeres. With the sort of, the contrast embroidery, the sort of fixings. I loved those. Absolutely loved those. Would you say you've had a worst fashion moment?
Oh, God, yeah, I know what that is. I tell you when it went all wrong. but also was a note was an all the flowery sort of, when Chloe, that sort of layeredy, it wasn't me.
I don't see you in that at
Well,
all.
but it was everywhere, and it was, and I sort of bought pieces like that, and it was just so, that just does not suit me, doesn't suit me at all, and that was a bit, yeah, that was a wrong one. So I had that. I think I've had wrong fashion moments. I've got shirts that I bought that are just beautiful, beautiful blouses that just got too much detail on them, just too much for me.
So do you hang on to them or do you move them on?
Well, I give them to my Mary's Living and Giving shops,
Which I wanted to talk about. I mean, that was so ahead of the time, 2009. And are you still very involved?
Yes.
And how does that work?
Well, it works that they, I came up with the concept and sort of the philosophy and how I want the shops to look. Just, this should not feel like a charity shop.
Yeah.
Right? Just the byproduct is it will. But if it doesn't, and you make people feel joyful and excited and coming in to find stuff that's not full price but is beautifully curated and loved and good, they're going to be good stuff in there, you'll make money. And we've made over 13 million for Save the Children just by turning it on its head. And now we've got fashion, charity shops that are really doing some great stuff, really great stuff. And taking that sort of, way of going, why do we have to look like this? Let's invest in making this beautiful and we will make more money in the long term. So, yeah, a lot of my stuff goes there. A lot I do give away, to friends or like my sister. And then I go, that jacket's lovely. And she goes, yeah, you gave it to me. And I want to say, can I have it back now? Can I have it back? Indian gift giving. I think I'm going to have it back now.
So you gift, do you actually still get involved with any of the curation at the
team do all of that. But
Yeah.
I will then go around twice a year and hang with them. We do workshops and
Do you ever buy when you're
Yes,
out on the road? Yeah.
Got a brilliant Vivienne Westwood jacket the other day from there. It was fantastic.
It's always such a joy, isn't it? Those charity
finding
finds.
it. The managers must have a whale of a time. When you get that in first thing, some of them get some great finds.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say is the oldest piece in your wardrobe?
Me?
Yeah. Oh, stop it. No.
In the wardrobe.
I
Come
fell
on, Mary,
for that,
out
didn't
you
I?
come.
Yeah.
Out you come, love. What's the old? Well, it will be my Le Smoking, Saint Laurent, Leave Saint Laurent.
Does your daughter ever nick that?
No, she hasn't nicked that. She's done the Gucci and but she hasn't taken that. And actually, my son's girlfriend's just done a little darning of it for me, which is really sweet.
You should leave a little tag on it saying, never even consider borrowing this.
Do you know what? I leave tags on plugs, in my house in the Cotswolds, and I say, so friends can come round, and your plugs, your phone, I say, do not remove. Gone when I get there.
No,
so do not remove.
Then you need to put Mary Portas.
Will come after you.
On it. Okay, one final question before we go on to the quickfires. The most expensive item of clothing you've ever bought. You do not have to tell me the price tag.
It was a Hyder Ackerman jacket. I still have. I haven't worn enough to get the money back, if you know what I mean.
Pounds per wear.
I haven't quite got that yet, and I've had it 15 years. But it was one of those where you go,
can you describe it to me?
Oh, it's really difficult to describe, Amanda, because you're a designer and you know all the right terminology, and I'll be rubbish at this. But it's a kind of evening jacket in a beautiful aubergine silk. And then it's also, it's shaped like a sort of Elizabethan style. That's all I can sort of imagine. So it's very small at the waist, but quite large, not shoulder padded, but big and it has a sort of lapels that roll out on it. And to tie it, you have to go through, a loophole, and it comes around. That's leather ties in it and leather edging through it. And then it's done with a sort of moleskiny grey edge as well. And it's stunning. It's stunning. So, I've worn it for weddings, but I'll also wear it if I'm doing a talk or and just with the most simple black pant, and it looks just great.
Just gorgeous. Let's spin on some quick fires. What fashion advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Fashion trend or era that you'd most like to see make a comeback?
I know, maybe it's just formative years, but I think the glam rock 70s. And they did, I guess. Gucci brought them back, but I just loved every part of that.
Fashion or beauty trend that you would consign to Room 101?
A beauty trend has to be the eyebrows that literally ended up like, what's his name, Marks from the... I mean, who... I love a good eyebrow. I love a good eyebrow. I do not want sticker tape across your forehead and think that looks good. Who came up with that one? Literally a black paint line. I literally walked into a baker's one day and this young girl served me and I thought, is she done this? Is it a joke day today? They were literally about 2 inches width of black lines.
Slugs, I call them.
Oh, bigger than slugs. These were mammoth slugs.
Your last impulse buy?
I know what it was, actually. I bought it online and I'm not a big online driver, and it was an LA brand and it was a leopard print. I thought I would wear loose silk trousers for holiday and I looked like a drag queen in it. So I gave them to my sister and said, you can do the drag act in those, Tish. Is that all right?
Your views on tattoos?
Oh, no, they're just on aging skin. No, I'm sorry. It looks so cute, but then no.
Grooming or well-being treatment you couldn't give up?
Oh, it's got to be my hair. It has to be my haircut. I just love that and I feel alive when I get a great haircut.
High maintenance, low maintenance?
What, me?
Yeah.
I think I'm low maintenance. Yeah.
High end, high street?
Oh, I'm a bit high end. I'd lie elsewhere.
Crocs, cute or puke?
That's a really interesting thing, isn't it? I think there's a cuteness about them. I've come to see that, especially when I see my 13-year-old son and I'm thinking he's cool, and it just breaks my heart.
Sambas or gazelles?
Oh, I think I'm a gazelle.
Sports luxe or rock and roll?
Oh, you see, that's difficult. That's a really difficult one.
I think you're both.
Yeah, I'm both. So I'll be sport roll.
Cashmere or cotton?
I think I'm cotton. Yeah.
Trilby or Tracy?
Trilby.
Trend or style?
Style.
Colour or monochrome?
It'd have to be colour.
Pattern or plain?
Pattern.
Hoarder or editor?
Editor.
Charity shop or resale?
Charity shop.
Bikini or one piece?
Bikini.
Shapewear or sexy lingerie?
Shapewear.
Tights, stockings or hold-ups?
All of those are a horrible option, Amanda Wakeley. Can I just tell you? I absolutely hate the worst one. I could never date anyone who wears pop socks. I'd just say, please leave the room now. I think socks are so sexy. Wear socks. We don't need hold-ups. But I do love sometimes a great pair of Wolford black tights, which just can, if you're not feeling great and you want to wear a skirt or a dress and just whack that on, it holds it all. It's still brilliant.
Yeah. And finally, traditional last question. At the end of the day, what do you or don't you wear in bed?
I wear absolutely nothing. I've always worn absolutely nothing, and I don't know, I can't bear the thought of anything on my body, and I soon warm up. Yeah, I'm a complete nudie.
Wonderful. Mary, thank you. I've loved our conversation. I could literally chat on and on and on. There's so much shared history.
That was wonderful, Amanda. Really wonderful. Thanks for
Really
having me. It's a
loved
joy
that.
to sit with you in your extraordinary place.
Oh, thank you.
No, my pleasure.
Thank
Wasn't
you.
that fun?